Hello there, Coach Gary here with another episode of Don't Sweat the Technique. This week we're going to work on dynamic movement. So what is dynamic movement? Dynamic climbing is anything that you can't do statically. So whenever you can't hold yourself either in balance or stability so that you don't move when you're going for a hold. So it means we're moving fast when we're catching the next hold. It means we have to be accurate. The main takeaway point I want to say today is that it's all in the hip. So what we want to be doing is thinking more about how we're moving our body and how your hips move relative to the wall rather than thinking so much about our hands. Today we're going to go through three things: the dead point, trajectories, and the semi-static float. So yeah, with dynamic climbing, you're moving quickly, and anything we can do to slow things down is going to help our accuracy. It's going to help make the dynamic movement easier. It's easier to grab a hold when you're still rather than flying out from the wall. So what we want to do is try to find that lightness, and that's the dead point. And this is the moment of stillness where we want to be grabbing our holds. If we can turn off gravity, climbing gets a lot easier. So here's a drill to learn about the dead point. What we want to do is try to figure out where that sweet spot is, where we're hanging in zero gravity, where we're at zero velocity. So the goal is to try to get as much hang time as possible. Bring your body out from the wall. Start with the hips out, with the goal of ending as close to the wall as possible. And the further you bring your hips out, the more time you have to get in. The further out your hips start from the wall, the more time it'll take to get them into the wall. If you're doing a short, sharp hip movement, you'll have to be very quick with your hands. Whereas having the hips out lets you be more loopy. Next, we want to think about our trajectory while we're flying through the air. If we start with our hips close to the wall, there's only one way to go, and that's out. Instead, we want to start with our hips out and drive them into the wall as we go. Dynos can be really intimidating, so a good drill for building confidence is just to try to jump up and slap the wall. Really think about getting in close to the wall, and don't worry too much about grabbing the hold. Just think about your hips, trying to move them out and end in, and see how high you can slap up the wall. If you're using really bad holds, you don't really want to bring your hips out, but pulling really hard on the bottom hand can help generate that inward force that you need. So turning off gravity is also really useful for pulling on terrible holds, and what I like to call a semi-static float. So while gravity's off, that's when we want to pull hard on the holds, engage your core, engage your flag, and this is going to give us as much hang time as possible for us to accurately latch the hold. So to summarize, 1, it's all in the hips. 2, start out to end in. And 3, lengthen your hang time. Cool, well I hope that was helpful. Let us know if you've got any comments, suggestions or questions, and we'll see you next week. Cool.